I was playing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our really super fun holiday stream where we are going to play a game. And tonight, all of us, with all the mods, who I will introduce in a second, and we're going to intersperse it with the history of trick or treating. So, welcome. We've already seen a whole bunch of you guys in there saying hello. First, although
And we also have some fun things. Did you want to tell them the fun
we
thing?
do, but let's introduce everybody first. I'm Susan, and Philip is
I'm Philip Show.
down there. We've got our three mods with us tonight, which is a first for us. This is Jan over here, Mark is down here, and Elise is over on this side of me. And Elise is first time you're the first time on one of our streams, right? Did you do one of our member streams or no? No,
Nope,
first time on stream.
very first time.
And you've come for a good one because this is going to be fun. We're going to play a game, and as you know from the title, it's totally true or mostly or wildly woo. And you guys are going to play along in the audience. I'm going to explain how it goes. But first, as Philip said, there's some things we want to go over. We have a member stream after this, which I'm hoping everybody will stick around for, and we'll just meet you in there. I'll put the link up on the community board as soon as this one's over. And we also have a really fun thing at the end. We're doing a draw for a copy of Morg's audiobook of Neogenesis. And so stick around for sure, because we're doing that at the end of this stream. So it's the public stream. And I think we can...
Also, if you want to see any of these fantastic mods on their channels, you can also see Jan on their channel, Jan Damon. And you can see Mark Vanderpool on Neogenian Whisper on YouTube. And I think you're on TikTok and some other platforms, aren't you?
Here and there a bit, yeah.
Can you guys
Yeah,
can you
okay.
guys put your links in the chat?
Oh,
If you can,
yeah.
go ahead and do
Mhm.
it. Okay, so this is how the game works.
Also, really quick, just before we begin, I'll be really quick. I saw that Ren gifted a membership and Angela has been a member for 7 months. Thank you to everybody who supports our channel.
Oh, congrats, Angela, and thank you so much, Ren. Um, oh yeah, and Wendy got it. Wendy got the membership. Thank you so much.
Yay.
And yep, I see the links in there for Mark and for Jan. So this is how the game is going to work. Each of us has three sets of items, one of which is going to be the totally true one, and the other one is going to be the wildly woo. You won't know which is which. We're going to label them A and B so that once the whoever's doing theirs has explained the two, you guys can put in what you think is the one that is the true one. Okay, so you have to remember whether that's the A or the B. Hi, Morg, and thank you so much. And we hope you're going to play along too with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to just hit it off. I'm going to ask Philip to go with his first one, and then you'll see how this works. And then you guys will vote, and then we're going to go around and give our answers of what we think. Okay, so Philip, what's your first one?
Okay, so one of these is totally true and one is completely woo. My first one, which will be A, put in the chat whether you think it's A or B. My first one is an animal related one. So there is an animal with razor sharp teeth and covered with insects in its matted hair. It stretches its limbs and utilizes long, sharp bones which protrude from its forearms to snatch and grab at its food. That's A. And then if you guys need clarification, I can repeat. And then I have B. So one of these is true, one is woo. B is there is a rare parasite local to South America, which when ingested travels through the body and finds its way to the brain where it lays thousands and thousands of eggs. These eggs eventually hatch, feed on the brain tissue, and find their way out of the nasal cavity during the night to find a new host. Having this parasite is almost always lethal. So what do you think? Is it A or B?
Wow. Both of those sound
Those are terrifying, aren't
they
they?
sound
yeah.
horrific.
So we're asking which one is true, A or
Yes.
Yes, so
Put-
Jan, which one do you think is true?
Jan, which one?
B?
B?
Okay, Elise?
A.
Okay, and Mark?
As much as I hate them both and hate this one extra much, I'm going to say that B is true.
Okay, and Susan?
I'm going with B as well. So you guys
Okay.
in the audience.
I just don't want B to be true.
Yeah, I know.
So
me neither.
I see
But wait,
a lot of
Stranger
I
Things
see a
shit.
lot of people in the chat saying that B is right. You are wrong. It's actually A.
oh my God.
So
Were you
Easy.
talking
the
about a Wolverine or
the
something?
the animal with its bones protruding from its arms to snatch at its prey is actually a sloth. The claws that you see at the end of its paws are actually its phalange bones covered in a sheath of keratin, which is the same material that makes up your fingernails and your hair. I just typed out the thing about the parasites, and it sounds awful. Could be true, but I don't think it is.
You just splattered my brains all over the room, Philip Show.
Isn't that awful? I just
Yeah.
typed it out because I wanted it to sound scary and awful.
You
Wow.
made the fake
Excellent
one
job.
sound so rational. So
I
much
know.
more rational. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe I was tricking you a little. So
Wow.
some of these things are very scary. And today, since we're having the Halloween special, we're also going to sneak in a couple facts about trick or treat, just
Yes.
to kind of give you guys some history as well. And I think Susan has one of those
Yeah.
for you.
Okay. So I
Mark
have.
says, "I'm glad you are not God."
I know. I agree. I saw that. I agree. So the history of trick-or-treating is obviously tied to Halloween. Most of you probably know that Halloween goes back to the Celtic holiday of Samhain, which is spelled Samhain, but it's not pronounced that way. And it's about 2,000 years old, where the belief was that the veil between the worlds was thinner at that time of year, and it allowed the demons to roam around, and people would dress up as the dead to try to confuse any demons that were wandering around. So we will pick up on that, yes, and move forward in time till we get to how trick-or-treating came about. But I think we're going to move on to our next person, and I'm going to pick Elise. So do you want to do your first one?
Okay. let me get my notes. Okay. First one, A, the Missouri spider incident of 2014. In September 2014, a government laboratory in Missouri conducted secret DNA experiments that catastrophically spiraled out of control. The facility, situated near Wolf Sanctuary on Antier Road, unwittingly unleashed a horror on the community of genetically mutated gigantic spiders. Initially contained the modified arachnid soon escaped, spreading rapidly west of the laboratory along Lewis Road. Local residents in Eureka, Pacific Union, and St. Clair reported sightings of the monstrous creatures, which adapted alarmingly well to the wild. Panicked officials scrambled to contain the disaster, but their efforts were woefully inadequate. As winter approached, hopes rested on the cold weather, slowing the spider spread. Citizens were warned to remain indoors and contact local authorities immediately upon sighting. The incident raised disturbing questions about the ethics and safety of unchecked scientific experimentation. The Missouri spider incident became a chilling cautionary tale. Recently declassified files revealed the laboratory's objective to enhance spider DNA for potential bioterrorism applications. The project's codename, Arachnid Acceleration, was shrouded in secrecy until the catastrophic breach.
Wow.
The Missouri spider incident, one more thing. The Missouri spider incident led to sweeping reforms in genetic research, regulations, and increased transparency in government-funded scientific endeavors. While the spider's population eventually dwindled due to environmental factors, the psychological and ecological impact serves as a haunting reminder of science gone horribly wrong.
Wow. Okay, that's A, everybody.
That's A.
Okay. And what's B?
Okay. B, Project Pigeon. During World War II, renowned American behaviorist B.F. Skinner embarked on an unconventional project, developing a pigeon-guided missile. A codenamed Project Pigeon, Skinner's innovative idea stemmed from observing pigeons in flight, where he saw them as devices with exceptional vision and agility. The control system relied on a simple yet ingenious mechanism. A lens at the missile's front projected the target image onto an internal screen. A pigeon trained through operant conditioning. Center pecks maintained the missile's course. Off-center pecks adjusted its trajectory. Skinner secured military funding for this bird's eye bomb. To implement this concept, he conditioned pigeons to peck at specific images, placed pigeons inside custom-designed missile nose cone, utilized a plastic screen projecting the missile's flight path. These pigeons could alter the missile's coordinates by pecking at the screen, effectively steering it towards the target. Early simulations demonstrated remarkable success, earning endorsements from physicists and psychologists. However, the military ultimately rejected the project in October 1944, citing concerns about its practicality in the field. Despite its unconventional nature, Project Pigeon showcased Skinner's creative problem solving and pioneer work in behavioral psychology.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Now,
pretty interesting.
What you guys should do in the audience, rather than saying, I think it's this or I'm going with this, just put a capital A or a capital B. It's easier for us to see what, who's saying what, if you do that. So,
And I have seen a lot of people in the chat say B already. I also think it's B. What about you, Jan?
One thing I love is that both of these involve some component of the military, and I don't know if people are familiar too much with the military, but they do a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Especially with animals, so I think it's B. I think it's the pigeons.
And what about you, Susan?
I think it's B as well. I think that sounds,
And Mark?
I think arachnid acceleration is really exciting stuff for a thriller movie, but the naming's too on the nose. It's not a code. It's not a secret if you call it that. So I too am going with Project Pigeon. B.
Okay, what is it?
I mean, Project Pigeon is pretty on the nose as well.
Well, yeah, except it doesn't tell you they're guiding
you
missiles.
guys are ready for which one's true?
We're ready.
Yes.
Project Pigeon is true. Although, A, the one about the spiders, was a local issue in Missouri. People were calling and had this whole story that came about because
interesting.
People were taking pictures. You guys probably can't see it, but
So the spider one really spread as an urban myth?
yes,
Awesome.
people were taking pictures of these creatures that look like huge spiders, but actually they were, what's shown in the pictures is Burgess latro, otherwise known as a coconut crab.
yes.
They are
nutty
little
crabs,
creatures,
always
but
posing.
People made up a story about how
Right.
they got that big.
How they
But
got that big. That's clever.
If you want to know the truth,
is 100% true.
if you want to know the truth, I'm a little bit more terrified of birds than I am of spiders because spiders can't swoop at your head. Birds swoop at you. But are you guys ready for? Yeah, that's true. They both have their scary traits, okay? So, are you guys ready for another trick or treat fact, a history fact?
Okay. So, good. You do it. You do it.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
So, if we want to fast forward a little bit through history into the 7th century, the Catholic Church was very much in the business of converting pagan holidays into God-fearing people. And they turned the Celts' demon dress-up party that Susan was talking about with the first fact into All Saints' Day. And this is something that Susan has talked about quite a bit moving their celebration from the church into November 1st during Pope Gregory's the Third's reign, I think it was. So, what were you telling me about that, Susan?
I cannot remember.
Yeah, well, you were talking about the All Hallows Day.
Oh, yeah. They called it All Hallows Day. And what I was telling you earlier was just that somebody where I used to work at the school, they didn't like Halloween, and they would rename the holiday for their kids Holyween. But hollow means holy, which I thought that was amusing, because what the Catholic Church did was they called it, like, what was it? Hollow here. Hollows.
What did they call it?
Hollow Mass, or All Hallows, which we've heard of.
He said they called it Holy Weed.
That's horrible.
I know, it's worse, isn't it?
All
goodness.
Hallows
I'm
Eve.
gonna say I'm not gonna repeat the joke.
Yeah, no, but isn't
Yeah.
that, it's worse, isn't it? Yeah, so much worse.
Yes, Mark
Yeah,
says
Holy
Holy
Weed.
Weed. Oh my
And they
goodness,
didn't.
that's
And that was
scary enough.
yeah. And they didn't see any problem with that. They just, didn't want people to say hollow, because that reminded them of demons and witches and stuff, and but it means holy. So anyway,
Susan, if we're going counterclockwise around the screen, it looks like you would be next after Elise if you want to give us your A and
okay.
B.
Now I have all these things typed up. The one thing I didn't type up was my actual game things. So it's written in messy handwriting. Bear with me. Mine are plant related. So which one of these is totally true and which one is wildly woo? A is something called a vampire vine, but also known as devil's snare, which is where I think what's her name got that from. And it's found in Nicaragua. And a naturalist who was there declared or said that, found his dog ensnared in this vine, and that it was attached to his dog by these little sucker feeler things, and which actually was making the dog bleed. And I guess that's why they called it vampire vine. And the other one is a plant called the Welwitschia, and it is in Namibia, Africa, and it is up to 3,000 years old.
That's it.
Oh.
So you
can
have
you say that?
you pretty
can you
mu-
say your
yep.
second one again?
Yep. It's 3,000 years old. I can give you some more info. It has only 2 leaves, grows continuously, and it can be 2,000 years old. Or in Namibia, or in Nicaragua, the naturalist who found his dog ensnared in something which he then called the vampire vine, also known as devil's snare.
I think the true one is B, the very old tree. I have hope for trees, and I know that there's a lot of old ones out there. What about you, Jan? What do you think?
It's not actually a tree, though. They don't say
It's not?
tree. It's a plant with 2 leaves.
Oh, okay.
Two leaves.
I still think it's B. What about you, Jan?
At first, I'm like, Devil's Snare, like, rings familiar to me, and then I'm like, that feels like it's like something really fantasy based, so I'm gonna go
It
with
makes
B.
me think of that thing in Harry Potter 1 when
That's
they're
why
going
I'm like,
on-
at first, I'm like, that's a
That's-
thing, and then I'm like,
That's
is it?
my assumption, was that's where she got the name from. A is the
true.
vampire vine that quote unquote sucks blood. And B is a 3,000-year-old plant that has 2 leaves that grows continuously, obviously.
B? What about you, Mark?
So A is the vampire vine and B is the Methuselah plant.
Yeah.
I'm going to say B. I hope for longevity.
What about you, Elise?
Yeah, same thing, like what Jan said, devil's snare does ring a bell as a plant, but I think it might be a bit tricky. So
Well, I was going to say the answers in the chat are pretty mixed.
Hooray.
I mean,
Mixed is good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with A. Just
Vampire vine.
Okay. So what is it, Susan?
The one that's true is the Methuselah plant. It's yeah, they can be up to
Yeah.
3,000 years old, and when you look at them, I mean, I was going to give more information, but I just decided less information was better. It looks like it has many leaves. It really only has two, but the wind will whip the leaves around and sort of shred them, so it looks like it's lots of little leaves. And when the ends die, they just wither and die, and leaving the live part still there. But yeah, basically
That's pretty cool. That reminds me of the group of Egyptologists that had like this old like Egyptian pot and they like broke it open or something and there was like seeds in it and they just kind of like threw them out in their backyard. And one of them actually sprouted and it turned out to be like an old extinct like species of palm tree
Wow,
that
that's
existed back
crazy.
then.
Oh, wow.
So they had like just randomly like grew an old ancient palm tree.
That
like,
is so cool.
yeah.
That's so cool.
That is very cool.
Far out.
Did you have another Halloween trick or treat fact for us,
Yes.
Susan?
Okay.
I did the last one. You do this
yep,
one.
Yep. The next one, switching up. So here we go with All Souls Day. Became an occasion for door-to-door souling. It was called souling. And poor people would visit the homes of the wealthy and they would offer to pray for the homeowner's dead loved ones in exchange for soul cakes, which I had heard of before and maybe you guys had too. So now they're doing something in exchange for soul cakes, for some food. And the practice was soon taken over by children who asked for money, food, or, believe it or not, ale. So
I want some soul cake.
yeah,
And
or
ale.
money,
Ale and
ale.
soul
or money, ale, any of those things. Yes, please.
So,
Okay.
continuing around the cycle, I think next we're at Jan. Jan, do you want to tell us your true or woo?
Oh, yes. Okay. So these are just scenarios or like situations or hypothetical scenarios that you can be caught in. And one of them is true and one of them is woo. And they're both very similar. They both take place like where you're alone in your house. One experience happens in a familiar place like your home, where somebody may hear or see what seems to be a familiar loved one's voice that doesn't actually turn out to be there. And the other one is very similar, in which you can hear a voice sometimes, but you notice items are disturbed in your home and things are potentially missing. So A is hearing specifically like a loved one's voice, and B is still getting the idea that somebody is there. Now, in these situations, remember that it starts off like pretty rational, like, oh, gee, am I going crazy? Is this thing like really misplaced? And it's just kind of this constant like snowball into like, I really feel like somebody's in here. And in a lot of these cases, people will call police, have them like search their homes.
So
Yeah.
it's the question is that a real phenomena, like that actually has happened to people?
Which one is true?
Okay, so A again is
The specificity, I don't know if that's how you say that word, but specifically say, there you go. Specifically like hearing your, like either your own voice or a voice of somebody that you usually live with. But when you hear their voice in the other room and you go to that place, nobody's there. And then you find your loved one actually isn't there.
okay. That's
And
A.
the B one is similar. You may hear somebody talking, but it's not necessarily somebody you recognize. But with that, there's more specifically items being rearranged in your home, or like things missing, or like food missing, or just signs that somebody's in your home despite you calling police and having them come in and see if there's intruders. Both people could call the police and ask if there's intruders.
Okay, so B could be a case of like people who have dementia or something and have moved things but don't remember moving them, or sleepwalking and moving things and not remembering moving them and then believing that they did.
It's experiencing items, actual physical items in your home being moved around.
I'm still going with A.
Food missing, or doors opening, or doors that are open that were shut, or just finding things odd in the morning that are like as if somebody has been in your house at night.
I think I'm gonna go with A. Hearing the voice and go in there and there's nobody there.
I'm going to go with A. Elise?
As being true?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
Elise? What do you think?
Hmm.
Zeus said rats?
I'm gonna. I want to say A because it's happened before. So,
Okay, you can
but
say
B
A.
is
Interesting.
B is interesting. Mark, what do you
But
think?
I'm gonna go with A.
A? Mark, what do you think?
To be clear, A is strictly an auditory phenomenon, and B includes things getting moved around inexplicably, right?
B can
Um,
also include hearing a voice,
Audio
but not
plus.
as primarily.
Okay. I can think of rational ways that both of those things could be part of someone's experience that would be explicable.
Yeah.
But knowing that auditory hallucinations are super common and one of the first symptoms of sleep deprivation, even for people who are not way into senile dementia, I'm going to say A is true.
Okay.
Okay, it's in the. We got some A's, got a lot of
Good
A's
job.
for a while, and then we got some B's. Which
Okay.
one is it? Which one is it?
Okay, I'm honestly really shocked that you're only guessing A because it's B that's true.
So
Wow.
what is causing it?
So A, or do you want me to explain what B is first? So let me explain what B is first. B is referred to something as frogging, but it's instead of FR, it's PHRO, frogging with PH. And it's when somebody actually is able to secretly live inside your house without you knowing through closets or
Shit.
basements, and they'll come out at night and eat your food and use the toilet and all that stuff. A is false because it's what you refer to as a mimic ghost or a doppelganger. And it is debatable because, people who have some of these experiences, really believe it's true. But we don't really have proof of that actually being a solidified thing as frogging, where there's actual secret groups online, like communities, where people are really
Mm.
excited by secretly living in other people's homes and
I've heard.
That's
That would
creepy.
explain where all
Yeah.
my good snacks are going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so scary. I have heard of
That's
that
creepy.
happening, but I didn't think it was
that's an actual
widespread.
I have read some of those stories online before.
So
but I thought
scary.
they were
Yeah, there
That's
was
like somebody
terrifying.
discovered somebody was living in their attic
Yeah,
and was
yeah.
like totally taking their
That's
food and
Yeah.
stuff.
The
wow.
mimic thing also creeps me out because in some cases people swear they hear their own voice, and that's where I would be really concerned if I experienced that. So
Wow, that is
Definitely.
Well,
really
I've
scary.
heard voices in other rooms and went in there to not find anybody, but I think that's just having kids who like to mess with you.
you're like, what do you want?
Angela said they need to help me with my mortgage. That's
Yeah, we could be
right.
paying
yeah,
rent.
yeah.
I think
Start
both of
paying
those
rent.
situations are pretty terrifying. But
Oh.
speaking of terrifying, let's do another trick or treat fact. So, just to continue from the one that Susan did with the soul cakes, which I think sounds pretty phenomenal. Back in Scotland and Ireland, two really great countries, kids were doing something similar, but in costume. And so they visited households. Hopefully, they weren't frogging and stealing people's snacks. But they would promise not prayers for the dead, but they would offer entertainment. So guising children would put on a disguise and bring some talent door to door. So I don't know. I wonder what the first Halloween costume ever was, what the first disguise that they thought to put on. But they would sing and recite poetry in exchange for treats and stuff. But, they didn't have Michael Myers costumes back then, so I don't know what they would do. Maybe spooky
Yeah.
clowns. You see those old
Yeah.
1800s photos of like the paper mache
Yeah, no,
masks and things.
costumes from back then were actually creepier than like the
Yeah.
store-bought costumes. Very, very,
Very creepy if you've seen photos. But actually, since this is in Europe, I would say, because I just saw something not that long ago, which was some European, I don't know what country, but people talking about how they do not understand American Halloween, like the kids wanting to dress up as Spider-Man or like a bunny rabbit or just anything that you want to dress up as. They were like, that's nuts. What you're supposed to be is either a witch, a ghost, or a devil.
Something
That's it.
ghoulish
You get
and
three things.
dead
Yeah.
and-
You get those options. You don't.
Well, that's capitalism for you, baby.
It totally is.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a fun thing to be able to, be Batman or Superman or whatever it is that you want to be, for Halloween. Like sometimes there's people who are just really creative in their Halloween costumes, but
Speaking of devils, let's go to the wise devil of our group and let's see what Mark has to say for our Halloween thing, and see
I'm afraid of what Mark has to offer.
what's your true or woo.
Well, you guys know how I cook this idea for a party game up. It's because my 10-year-old brings serious existential questions to me from the unvetted internet, and I have to help be her research assistant. So
Yeah.
my first one tonight, you guys have been tested on. It's drop bear versus zombie deer. No Googling.
Nobody gets to Google anything.
You guys keep your poker faces on while the members vote in the chat. Drop bear, starting with physical characteristics. Drop bears live in Australia. They're much larger than koalas, with a size comparable to a leopard. They weigh about 120 kilograms, measure 130 centimeters in length. Unlike gray-colored koalas, drop bears have coarse orange fur with dark mottled patterning. While koalas have small, rounded ears, drop bears have more prominent pointed ears. Behavior and habitat. Drop bears are carnivorous predators, in stark contrast to the herbivorous koalas that primarily feed on eucalyptus leaves. Both drop bears and koalas are arboreal, living in trees. Drop bears inhabit closed canopy forests and open woodland areas, while koalas are found in various eucalyptus forests. The most distinctive feature of drop bears is their hunting method, dropping from trees onto unsuspecting prey. Koalas, being herbivores, do not exhibit such aggressions. And let's see. Drop bears have been named Tylarctos plometus, while koalas are known as Phascolarctos cinereus. Cultural impact. Entries depicting the drop bear may be found in the Australian Museum. Totally true or mostly woo?
So that was A.
That was A.
Okay.
Now B is the zombie deer. Daddy, do these exist? Physical characteristics. Zombie deer appear emaciated, with protruding ribs and hip bones giving them a skeletal appearance. Their eyes take on a glassy, vacant stare, as if the animal is no longer fully present in its own body. In advanced stages, zombie deer may drool excessively with long strands of saliva hanging from their mouths. Behavior and symptoms. These creatures exhibit erratic behavior, stumbling and falling as if intoxicated, earning them the nickname drunken deer. Zombie deer lose their natural fear of humans, often wandering into populated areas with eerie nonchalance. As the condition progresses, affected deer may grind their teeth audibly, producing an unsettling sound in the forest. Distribution and spread. The zombie deer phenomenon has been reported across North America, with particularly high concentrations in the Midwest and the Rocky Mountain regions. The condition spreads through a mysterious agent that can lie dormant in the environment for years, making containment nearly impossible. That's B, the zombie deer.
Okay.
Which is true. Which is
okay,
true.
people, A or B?
I see a lot of people in the chat saying B. Some say A. More B, though. For their own sake,
please not B. Hi, Charlotte.
Doesn't that sound terrifying?
Yeah, we got a bunch of B's, and Cassie said C because I can't tell the truth anymore. Mork says B. Zeus says B. Pook says A. So why don't you tell us? Oh, we already know, so we've already...
That's right, you guys all know that.
Yeah, we're not doing it, so you just tell the audience.
That the zombie deer is the colloquial name for a really unfortunate wasting disease that does affect the prions and cognitively disables the animal, similar to mad cow disease. The drop bear is something that Australians love to tell tourists.
Hmm.
And there's more. They will tell you that if you rub some Vegemite behind each ear or put forks in your hair, you're less likely to be attacked by the drop bear. It's completely a tourist story.
That's a clever one. I feel bad for the deer. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
there's
that's ugly.
I've seen a couple of like real videos of deer with that disease, and they the way they behave, it's a very eerie, uncanny feeling that is rather
That
disturbing.
may or may
So
not jump the species barrier. That isn't known yet.
yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
watch out for kangaroos. Jackie.
right.
All right, you guys, we need to speed things up. So,
Speedily,
yeah, so I think we should just go right on to the next one. Oh, I had seen way earlier. Spectral asked which one of my two were true, which of the plants. The true one was the really, really old plant in Africa that had the two leaves and could live up to 3,000 years. I think
So
we
do
have
you
a
want to
specimen.
skip the
Let's
the
just,
trick or treat
yep,
facts?
for now, let's just
Okay.
move on. So I think we're back to you,
So
aren't we?
yeah,
Let's go.
mine are kind of disgusting, but they're also kind of spooky. So
I
Yay.
like
these
gross. Let's
ones
go.
these ones are history related. So A, you live in 16th century Europe and have grown incredibly ill. From a cabinet, your doctor pulls forth a dusty vase of mummia, which he says will make you better.
Of what?
Mumia. Mummia.
Oh, Mamiya.
Not
Okay.
not not Mamma Mia, but Mummia, Mumia, which he says will make you better. This medicine is broken pieces or ground up powder of the dead body of an ancient Egyptian person, which he will have you eat.
Holy
Mummy
shit.
eating is common practice in this time period. And so, B, it's 1875 and you're not feeling well. Your doctor informs you that there are many new state-of-the-art medical procedures that are just coming out that have been mildly successful. Out of his bag, he pulls a large metal hand crank screw drill, a piece of tube, a funnel, and a large bottle labeled bovine urine. After rinsing the blood off his hands from the previous surgery with a 5-second splash of water, he says, let's take care of that headache. So, which is it? A, eating the mummy dust, or B, the bovine urine drill into your head? What do you
Hmm,
think, Jan?
A.
Think it's A?
Mm-hmm.
And what about you, Elise?
I'm gonna go with A
Okay, Mark?
because it sounds crazy enough to be true.
Now B is the bovine urine, right?
Yeah.
And the quick splash of water from the blood of the previous patient is completely consistent with medical practices at the time. But
Uh-huh.
the drill through the head, I'm going to say, is a bridge too far. So I'm going to say A.
Okay. And Susan?
I'm going with the mummy.
Okay,
Mummy dust.
so it looks like the chat is pretty mixed. Lots of A's and lots of B's. It is
Yeah.
actually A.
Yeah.
So, from what I was reading, this was very popular in the 1800s, 1600s too. And this was likely due to a mistranslation of mummia, which was a Persian substance that was described like a wax. And people went and they got Egyptian mummies and scraped the insides and ate the powder and things. Really
Unbelievable.
gross.
I think they had to make like serious laws about that,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they're like, people stop eating mummies.
Yeah.
And it led to a lot of tomb raiding as well. So
Yeah.
that's mine. A is true. Yeah, the hand washing's true. They probably didn't wash their hands so much back
Yeah.
then for surgeries, but no bovine urine in the skull. So
Thank
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I think we were going counterclockwise, so I think it's Elise
I think
next.
Elise is next. Yeah.
Okay. A. The Great Emu War of 1932. Australia's unlikely conflict. In Western Australia, 20,000 emus, the country's iconic flightless birds, wreaked havoc on farmlands, devastating wheat supplies and livelihoods. Desperate farmers, mostly World War I veterans, begged the government for help. The government responded by declaring war on the emus, deploying the 7th Heavy Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery. Armed with machine guns, the soldiers faced off against the resilient birds. However, the emus proved formidable foes. Speed and agility made them difficult targets. Tough skin required precise shots. Reports suggested emus even had leaders coordinating evacuations. Despite thousands of soldiers and rounds of ammunition, the emus remained largely unscathed. The first day's tally, fewer than 50 emus killed. Machine guns jammed and trucks couldn't keep up with the birds. Newspapers at the time reported no treaty of peace has been concluded and the emus remain in possession of the disputed territory. The war lasted 2 weeks with 2,500 rounds spent and only 200 emus killed. Troops were recalled and the government shifted strategy, providing farmers with ammunition to defend their land. In 1934, 57,000 emus were killed, and subsequent bounty programs led to 284,700 deaths from 1945 to 1960. Today, emus are protected with a stable population of 600 to 700,000. The Great Emu War serves as a testament to the bird's resilience and Australia's determination to protect its agricultural interests. That's A.
Okay.
B, the Venezuelan capybara control operation of 1985. In response to escalating agricultural losses and health concerns, the Venezuelan government launched a large-scale campaign to manage the country's burgeoning capybara population. The Orinoco Delta region experienced rapid capybara growth fueled by favorable environmental conditions and habitat expansion. Local farmers and fishermen reported significant crop damage, livestock losses, and concerns about disease transmission. President Jaime Vucini's administration established the Comisión Nacional para el Control de Capybara. The commission coordinated efforts between the military, agricultural ministry, and local communities. The program employed targeted culling, habitat modification, and education outreach. The operation faced criticism from environmental groups who argued that the capybaras played a crucial ecological role. International organizations raised concerns about humane treatment and disease transmission risk. The Venezuelan capybara control operation serves as a case study in managing human-wildlife conflict, highlighting the importance of coordinated efforts, community engagement, and science-based decision-making.
Okay, so emus or capybaras?
Yes.
All right. Put down you guys A or B in the chat, and Jan, what do you think?
Capybaras are real. That's a real issue, and they're adorable.
They're so
by the
cute.
way. That is an extreme fact. They are
So cute,
precious,
so
and I
cute.
want to pet one.
They are the largest rodents.
Mhm.
Capybaras.
Yeah, they're
so
like
cute.
giant guinea
They
pigs.
look like a giant guinea pig.
They
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
They're big and they're just adorable.
They're also very destructive, unfortunately. They dig up and root up like a bunch of stuff and make a mess. So
I see the chat is very divided. There's B and A.
Laura's A or B.
Well, yeah.
A or B, Laura. So I'd like the Earth more if it was A. So you're going with A. Jan, which one? What are you going with, Jan? Let's just go around.
A is emu and B is capybara.
Yeah.
B is true.
Yeah.
You're going with
I'm
the
gonna go with
capybaras?
A.
I don't. What, Mark? Which one are you going with?
Gosh, I am so sympathetic to B because I know that capybara are enormous, and to keep one as a pet, you would go broke buying produce to feed the thing. These are both really
Yeah.
plausible. On the other hand, the emu is a terrifying bird that feels like you're in the presence of a prehistorical animal. I've been too close to them. I would not herd them. I would not step over the fence where emu are present without a shepherd's
broom.
crook in one hand and a sword in the other. They are terrifying birds.
Yeah.
So I'm going
Laura.
to say A.
Laura, you're going with A. I think I'm going with A. Philip, what are you going? What are you picking?
I think A.
All right.
People are
It's
crazy.
definitely Laura's answer. That was funny. It's definitely both. Good job in confusing us. Which one is it?
A is actually true. The Great Emu
The
War of
the
Gotta
emu war.
be
1932.
kidding me.
No, and the quote from the newspaper was actually a quote from a Daily News Perth, November 9th, 1932 newspaper
Charlotte.
clipping. No treaty of peace has been concluded, and the emus remain in possession of the disputed territory.
I thought that was hilarious. That was hilarious.
There was even
Aw, heretical.
quotes where they actually one of the quotes, they were strategizing and they said that the emus had turned to guerrilla warfare tactics. And that they had leaders.
Yeah.
Like that is an actual
That's
story.
hilarious. All right, we're moving on real fast because we have. Yeah,
I think
know.
you're next, Susan.
This is fun. I agree with you, Angela. Mine is super short. So, which of these two things can you see from space?
Oh,
Okay, which can you see from space? The Great Wall of China, which is a man-made structure, or a very large beaver dam. So, to be fair to the beaver dam, it is twice the size of Hoover Dam.
Holy cow.
you got it. What?
Which one of these can you see from space? The
I
Great
guess
Wall.
instead of holy cow, I should have said,
Oh.
oh, damn. 'Cause
Oh,
that's a big
You
damn.
missed the
Well,
opportunity.
damn.
Yeah. Which one can you see from space?
I'm gonna go A.
Oh,
I think it's the Great Wall of China. That was A, right?
I feel
It
like
was
that's a fact I learned in third grade.
yeah, I think that it. But see, that might be it.
Well, the other option is really inventive. I think it's A. The Great Wall of China can be seen from space.
A.
Did you all say? Has everybody's gone?
Yeah.
Jan, what did you say?
A, but now I want to switch to B.
A or B?
Be the
Hurry
B.
up!
To be the odd one out.
That also sounds like okay. I'm gonna switch to B just to.
You're right. I'm stopping it right there. It is a beaver
What?
dam. It's in Canada.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's a myth. Somebody said it in here. It's a myth that the Great Wall can be seen from space. It can't be. But NASA has actually seen this beaver dam. It's huge, and I mean, I would think
What
Team
country
Beaver.
is it in?
it's in Canada. It's in
Oh,
where did I write it down? It's twice the size of the Hoover Dam. It's in Wood Buffalo National Park in Alberta. So I don't think from space you can see the. This is to be fair, full disclosure. I don't think you can see the actual like wood pieces because if you could, you'd be able to probably see the dam, the Great Wall. However, they know that this is like an artificial structure from and they've studied it because of that and because it's it shows
did they
up.
maybe? Yeah. Did they maybe like see the water collection of the
Yeah,
dam from
yeah.
space?
And so what you could
That makes
you
sense.
can Google it and you can see what the picture shows. So it's more I
Interesting.
believe that that they could see that this was not something that was natural. So I thought that
I
was
think
clever.
that's pretty fascinating. And
Yeah.
now we're on to Jan.
Me, okay. A, have you seen this man in your dreams? A man with bushy eyebrows and a distinct gentlemanly features. Started with a psychiatrist who was conducting a session with one of her clients, one of her patients, who drew this man in their dreams, and she left this drawing on her desk, and then another patient came in and said, I've seen that man in my dreams. And it became such like a repetitive thing where like more clients were recognizing that man drawn in the picture, apparently depicted in people's dreams, and they often describe this man as somebody who's like odd looking, a little bit uncanny, but offers like comfort and sometimes advice to people, life advice, like very deep spiritual sort of like experiences. And so there was even a website created, haveyouseenthisman.org, and to which a lot of people have reported to seeing this man. Now, B is a case where there was an outbreak in 1518 when a woman started dancing uncontrollably, and there was no music, and it was an early early part of the world that's we know as modern day France. And so she began to dance. It was really confusing. There wasn't really accompaniment. Other people, for some reason, started to dance, and it turned into not just all day dancing, it turned into days of dancing. More people started joining. It turned into weeks of dancing in this town, and to the point where it came up to like hundreds of people started dancing, and they did not stop dancing until some of them died of cardiac arrest. So that is B. Is A or B true?
B.
Mark.
Oh, sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. We'll just go around this way. Mark.
I went out of it.
How dare you, Elise?
It happens to be that item B is true and might be attributed to air gulp contamination in rye bread. Everybody was tripping and they got on a vibe and they lollapalooza'd until they died. That actually happened, yes.
Philip?
At first, I was gonna say A because I think I have heard of people, like mass amounts of people seeing a certain man in their dreams, like the Hat Man. I thought maybe that's where you were going with that, but I do remember hearing the story about the people who danced until they died, the dance of death. So I think it's B.
Elise?
B.
I know it's B because I actually
Okay.
posted this on Instagram years ago because it was so crazy that it was I didn't
Okay,
remember the
good.
ergot poisoning, but I do remember that this really happened, and absolutely insane. But I felt like Philip did that. The first one,
Yeah.
I was going to go with that because that
Plausible.
sparked a memory of, oh yeah, I think there is a website where people can go sign up, but that's just a myth, huh?
So B is actually true. I mean, there's many theories because it is a historical event as to like whether it was like a mass hysteria or something. But I think Mark kind of describes it in a way that I would agree with, which is that there was possibly some sort of like hallucinogenic consumed from rye can develop in a way that produces those effects. A is not true. It's one of my favorite things. I still love that sort of like urban myth because it still elicits sort of a creepy feeling when I think about it. Even though the guy is supposed to be depicted as something that gives you like advice and stuff, I'm like, I don't want that. Like, stay out of my personal dream realm,
Yeah.
like. But it's created by a woman named Andrea Natella, and she specifically did this as an experiment to try to deliberately spread an urban myth and see the sort of like a social experiment trying to see people's reaction to it, and it blew up into something like way bigger than she expected. And she paired up, I think she was a part of like an advertising company or was paired with somebody else who was doing an advertising company, but it was deliberately created. But I still love it nonetheless.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Charlotte said
Yeah.
that it was a movie. That wouldn't surprise me if
Well,
somebody.
yeah, there was also a movie involved with it too. Like it was a
A real
creation
social
of a
experiment.
marketing company, but it was also supposed to be like this weird social experiment, and it was like advertising for a movie, which I think was called.
Was it with Nick Cage
Uh,
or somebody like that?
I can't.
If anybody
remember. It's
knows,
off the
put
tip
it
of
in
my
the
tongue.
comments.
Yeah,
Okay, we have
Nutella,
to moving on.
Nutella, like Natella.
Oh, I'm going to do another quick fact. Where were we? Where do we live off with this? I think we left off with the practice of going door to door.
Yeah.
Migrated to the U.S. From Europe. Obviously, it was practiced in the early 20th century by Irish and Scottish immigrant communities. But trick or treating didn't really spread until the 1920s and 30s, where it was a time where Halloween pranking was huge. So we're creeping up onto the actual trick or treat item. We'll get there, but we again have to move on. And I think Mark, you're up next, right?
I'm ready for my round two.
Okay.
Which of the following contains at least one consistently true premise running throughout? Two scenarios. A, I was going to attend this live stream as Epictetus tonight, but then I remembered that the famed Stoic wore only one simple tunic. made out of bed sheets, and I did not want to destroy my bed sheets. B, I was going to attend this live stream tonight as Diogenes, but then I remembered that the famed cynic lived nude in a barrel on the streets. That's B.
And Philip.
I think you were going to go as A. And I think you decided that your bed sheets were too high a thread count to sacrifice for this stream.
I think that too, because you already knew preemptively that Diogenes was naked and playing with himself in public. So I don't think that one's true.
Elise.
A. Yeah.
Everybody's saying A.
Well, I'm
so far?
saying B because I'm reading it as which one is true, and I can see that Morg already was.
Wait.
I was thinking alike like me. I think we're going for which one of the two things about the philosophers is true. Did Epictetus or Epictetus, however you pronounce his name, did he only wear one item, one garment,
focus on the historical.
No. Mark is just being clever by sticking that in, and I appreciated that.
B is still
no,
true
you
for me,
didn't
though.
misunderstand it, Mork. I'm going with B because I do know that Diogenes.
Okay, B.
Thing. Yeah, Philip, which one?
I said A, but you're going to tell me you didn't want to be Diogenes on Holy Ween?
I would love to be either of these guys. Are the votes all in? Or are we sort of?
Yeah. What
I
did
think
everybody
everybody's
think?
saying mostly B.
I could be either of these guys in a hot minute, but Diogenes might be extra embarrassing
Yeah.
because while he was the George Carlin of the ancient world and the founder of the Cynic school of philosophy, he also happened to live nude in a barrel in the streets. And Epictetus,
dogs,
although a slave, the Stoic teacher Epictetus was a mentor to emperors, and they kept him better dressed than that.
Yeah. That was a really good one. That was very
was funny.
clever.
I
That was
like
very
that.
clever. Okay, so going around, Philip, is this now the third one? Are we on the third round?
Wait,
Yeah,
we are.
Isn't it your turn again, Susan?
I go after
it's-
you.
Yeah, so I think it's me after Mark. Do you think we have time for a third round for everybody, or do you want to
Yeah,
do
no.
the...
We're doing it. Go.
Okay.
Speed round.
Okay. Mine is pretty short. So my last one is science related. A, there is at least one food that can eat you back. This highly controversial food is undeniably tasty. However, it contains an enzyme. I'm guessing Mark may know this, an enzyme called bromelain that digests protein. So when you devour it, it also devours you. And then for B, there is a type of rare fungi called Andissimum velitis or vilitis that, if ingested, can multiply and grow in your gut. And if the body isn't able to produce enough digestive proteins to fight it, this fungus begins to eat away at the body, forming holes in your upper intestines, leading to sepsis and sometimes death. Cases are rare, but about 1 in 2 million.
Oh.
That's hard. You guys, we need to. I'm sorry. While you're thinking, I have to do a mute test. I can't remember which is my mic. I'm gonna cough. Let me know if you can hear it.
Okay. It looks like a lot of people are saying A. What do you think?
Could you
Dan?
hear me or not? I just need to know which one.
We could hear you.
I know you can hear me. I mean the audience.
Oh.
Can the audience hear me? Did you hear me cough? No.
No.
Okay, so that I muted
It's
the right.
okay.
I muted the correct.
Okay. So,
Yes.
what do you think, Jan? A or B?
A is true.
Okay. Mark?
I'm going to say B.
Okay. Elise?
I'm gonna say A because, I don't know if I should say any more until everybody says anything.
Okay. And then Susan? A or B?
Okay. I think it's B. Thank you, Cassie.
Okay.
Cassidy.
It's actually A.
Yes, it's pineapple.
The food that
Mushroom.
eats you back is
Mushroom.
pineapple.
Nice.
No.
Mushroom.
And just so you know, I
Oh.
added in there that it's highly controversial because pineapple does not belong on pizza, no matter what you say.
Oh,
I'm not in that camp. Never will be. But yes,
Philip, you're gonna love
it
the
is.
video that we're putting out because I have that in there.
Okay.
That's so funny.
Well, that's mine. So next it's Elise again.
Elise, you're up.
Pineapples on pizza is a perfectly sane choice for some people.
Thank
No,
you.
it's a no. That we'll do an entire live stream on that. We'll carry that. We'll carry on with that in the
I'll
members.
come up.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'll
We'll
pull
do it.
up, okay, with that.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
some.
All right, go with yours.
The stream's going to be divided.
Yeah.
Pineapple.
Everybody on that side or this side. Okay.
Okay. A. Zombie ant. The zombie fungus that turns ants into the undead. Deep within the tropical forest, a sinister organism lurks, manipulating the behavior of unsuspecting ants and turning them into zombies. Ophiocordyceps unilateralis, a fungus that infects carpenter ants, is the culprit behind this macabre phenomenon. The fungus's life cycle begins when its spores infect an ant. Once inside, the fungus grows, manipulating the ant's behavior and causing it to climb to high locations. The ant then bites onto a leaf, securing its own demise. The fungus consumes the ant's internal organs, turning its body into a nursery for its own offspring. Infected ants exhibit erratic behavior, walking in circles and climbing to elevated areas. Their bodies become hosts for the fungus, which eventually kills them. Researchers have discovered that the fungus alters the ant's chemical signals, making it attractive to healthy ants. This ensures the fungus's spread. The study of Ophiocordyceps unilateralis has shed light on fungal arthropod interactions and behavioral manipulation. The dark fungus serves as a reminder of nature's complex and often unsettling interactions. As scientists continue to unravel the mysteries of the zombie fungus, we are forced to confront the darker side of the natural world.
Okay, so that's A. That
was A.
Okay, what's B?
B, earwigs and the larvae they leave behind. Sarah's day at the beach turned into a horrific medical nightmare. After falling asleep on the sand, she unknowingly became host to an earwig that crawled into her ear. Initially, she experienced severe headaches and discomfort, prompting her to seek medical attention. Dr. Thompson, her physician, ordered an X-ray, revealing the earwig's presence and its shocking burrowing through her ear canal and into her brain tissue. The medical team managed to sedate Sarah and carefully remove the earwig, which emerged from her other ear, bringing temporary relief. However, the reprieve was short-lived as the pain returned weeks later. Further examination revealed a shocking discovery. The earwig had been pregnant and laid eggs, which hatched into larvae infesting her brain tissue. Dr. Thompson and his team fought to save Sarah, but it was too late. The damage was irreparable, and she slipped into a coma.
Irreparable.
Irreversible.
Irreparable. The medical community was left to ponder the rare and horrific circumstances that led to this tragic outcome. A haunting reminder of the tiny creatures that share our world and the devastating consequences that can occur when our paths intersect in unexpected ways.
Okay, and that's B. So it's either
Yes.
ants or earwigs. I'm voting first because we're going this way, and I'm going to go with A. Fuck those earwigs. We don't have them where I am here, but we had them so much in Canada. I fucking hate. Well, this is late in the stream. It's okay. Fucking hate those things. They are so gross. But they got
I don't like
the
them
name
either.
earwigs not because they crawl into your ears. Maybe this happened. I don't know, poor woman, if it did. But it's because I think you see them in cornfields. So I'm going with
Probably.
A. Yeah, so ears of corn, not ears of people. I'm going with A. Jan?
A, just because I happen to know that particular fact.
Mark?
I'm gonna say A because the second one's giving me nightmares.
Yeah, it's ew. Do you know, this is a fun fact, earwigs I think were at the top of at least one list of the most hated insects, even though like they will nip you a little bit, but they're not like Black Widow spiders or anything.
They're really
but they're
not that
so
harmful at all.
ugh. They just give you the cringe.
Oh,
Anyway,
they
you said
give
A.
you GBs.
Philip, what are you saying?
I'm also gonna say A.
Okay, what is it? Which one?
It's zombie ants
Oh,
are
okay.
real.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every
Earwigs,
yeah.
they don't crawl
Ew,
in your brain and lay
Zeus.
eggs,
No.
but spiders can crawl in your ears.
Thank you.
They can.
Thank you for that.
So just things
I
to
don't
think over as you're
particularly
going to
like it.
sleep
You're welcome.
later.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have seen videos of people in the doctor's office screaming as they get like a moth out or some other kind of bug that did crawl.
Nothing that eats all the way through your brain.
No,
system and out
nothing
the
like
other
that.
side.
Nothing
that-
like that.
That's physically impossible, actually,
Okay.
for something to crawl in one ear and come out
And
the
come
other.
out the other. Thank goodness.
It'll
Yeah.
just be in one ear. It's okay.
Oh,
As
that's so
opposed to
gross.
One ear and out the other.
So
I
gross.
never retain anything.
All right. Well, I have my next one, my last one is something that is it's about toilets.
Oh,
So
Here we
Okay.
go.
So-
Here we go.
I like toilet talk.
Yeah, okay. So here we go. So the first one is and I'm just going to make these really brief. The first one is that did you know that the first flush toilet was designed by someone named, his last name was Crapper, literally Thomas Crapper in the mid 19th century. I can't.
And the brand didn't stick?
I'm trying to be adult here.
and and anyway, I can't read my own writing. And then the other one is that in the Middle Ages in London, there were human toilets, and those were people who wore huge black capes and carried a bucket and wandered around. And if you were wandering around in the street and you needed to go to the bathroom, you could go up to them and give them I don't know how much money, and they would set the bucket on the ground for you and then put their big cape around you and you could do your thing. So which is it?
It's the boy.
A, that the toilet was invented by someone whose last name was Crapper in
now are we
the
talking
first
modern toilets?
the first flush toilet. Yes.
Okay.
The
yeah.
first flush toilet, not just a like Roman time,
Yeah.
thing. Okay. No, a flush toilet, or the human lavatory in London
I just wanted to, when you said human toilet, my mind like
Don't
just
even-
Me too.
don't-
Never
I was
mind,
like,
never mind.
We're not
I'm like,
going
excuse
dark.
me,
We're not
ma'am.
going dark web on this.
we are not. Just do not go there. So
Okay,
going
okay.
to Jan first.
this is a good one. I mean, they both. I'm just gonna go with A, but I wouldn't be surprised if B was true because I've heard some really weird
Those
things about
Londoners.
pooping
Yeah.
in early London development. So
Mark. Yeah, Mark.
I'm going to say A because I think I've heard of Mr. Crapper. And if that isn't true, I hope it is.
Philip.
I'm going to go with A, and if he wanted to make a commercial, he should have got the crap on, crap off, the crapper. But I think it's A for sure.
Okay. Annalise.
Part of me just really wants to choose B because everybody else chose A.
No,
but
who choose? Didn't somebody choose B?
no.
Okay. Choose.
I do. I remember
Go with
other
B.
stories involving buckets from that time period, but I don't think it involved a cape. So I think A is probably more true. B is just hilarious.
Okay. What does the audience think? A's or B's?
I see mostly A's if I scroll up a little.
I
I
wish-
see a couple
I love
B's.
my instruction in the beginning, which was just give an A or a B, and everybody's out there talking all the time with the
Well-
reasons for it.
Well,
yeah.
I wish B was true right now, but for peeing, because sometimes if I'm like out like running around or like to go in for a walk, I'm like, I just need somebody to like
You,
sit down
yeah,
with the bucket and
yeah,
so I
exactly.
can pee real fast.
You
It'll
need
be a
someone.
gig economy service next week.
You need
Yeah.
someone
Well,
to
see, I
run
don't
up to
think
you.
people in London at that time cared so much about decency, and the girls had
No.
those big skirts. They could just kind of squat down and nobody
They,
would
if they
know if they
carried
were
their own
peeing.
Well,
bucket,
that
right?
was
It's
the
the same
next
thing.
thing. And I think in some places back in the day, like where they had those big dresses and stuff, they also had high heels because they would literally just shit on the floor.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Literally just like during a
All
fancy
right.
party, you just like shit on the floor. But everybody's got big dresses and high heels. So hey, whatever.
Oh my god. Yeah, I can't even imagine. So you want to know which one it is?
Yes,
Humans are
please.
horrible.
It's B.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. But here's the thing.
Humans are horrible.
Those of you who know the name
Human
Crapper,
toilets is a thing.
well, yeah, okay. Those of you who know who Thomas Crapper was, he did develop. He actually improved on the design. But the first flush toilet was actually invented by Sir John Harrington way back for his godmother, Queen Elizabeth I, long time ago. And the thing
Mark
was,
says, "What a shitty party."
yeah, what a shitty party. The
Mr.
thing was,
Crapper was late on the scene.
he developed it. He improved on it or changed it. But actually, this Sir John Harrington did invent a flush toilet, and he had one personally, and he gave one to Queen Elizabeth, his
So
godmother.
that's why sometimes you refer to a toilet
John.
as the John.
Oh, I don't know. It
Because
might be. That's
some of
true.
you have- yeah, who in the chat has referred to a toilet as a
Yeah,
John? I swear
yeah.
I'm not the only
Sure.
one.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's true because
I've heard
Thomas Crapper's first name was Thomas. But the really funny thing about it is you'd think Elizabeth would have said, "Wow, thank you, I get this," but no, she absolutely hated it so much. She
Queen
refused.
Elizabeth.
She refused to use it, and she actually banished him. So from her kingdom, and the Crapper refined the design. Yet she thought it was, quote, unseemly and perverse, and refused to use
How
it.
dare you improve my pooping?
How is that perverse? But the human toilet is.
Yeah, right. Well, and the human toilet was earlier. That was 1190. That was earlier than Elizabeth.
I
So
mean, at least they had that.
hundreds of
It's,
years
like,
earlier,
silly,
they had
but,
the.
I mean, it's
She's like, no, I'm gonna go out and use that human toilet out there because that
Mr.
works.
Shitbed.
That
bring
works
me a
fine.
bucket.
Anyway, okay.
So we have just another one from Jan and another one from Mark.
So, yep.
Okay. Number A, and this is actually something that's in several. It's not just one thing that's happened in one place. It's got several stories similar to this. In several towns or wherever where there's tales of children dying on a bridge in some case, like a school bus goes over the bridge. And so you'll go out there as a teenager, a curious person, and check out the bridge. And then if you set your car in neutral, it may slowly start rolling up a hill, indicating that perhaps what the legend is saying, or what people say, is it's actual ghost of children pushing your car uphill, hoping that you don't get harmed. Another scenario, which is scenario B, many people in wooded areas have described hearing a woman scream at night, like bloody murder, deep into the forest, so much. And then with what it kind of feels like is what people say is it's some sort of like screaming banshee woman witch. So you either have A, the children pushing the car, or B, banshee woman screaming.
Where was this car again?
Well, it's not just like one town, one place like in America where it's like, oh, children died on a bridge. There's similar stories like that in a few different places. So it's not just like one localized, it's kind of a common thing.
Okay, where a car can seemingly go uphill.
Yeah, where a car in neutral
Will seemingly go
is
uphill.
rolling up a hill.
Yeah. Okay. Or B, hearing like a screaming banshee
A
sound.
screaming banshee woman.
And that
Like a
is
woman
any,
screaming bloody murder
and
in
is
a
that in,
very alarming and uncomfortable way
okay.
in
And,
heavily wooded, foresty areas.
okay. Um, all right. So Mark, you're up first.
Be the banshee woman when you hear that somebody's going to die.
Okay. Philip?
I'm going to say A, and I've had personal experience with that, not with being in a vehicle that's been pushed, but when I was younger, trying to go on ghost hunts and trying to have a paranormal experience, I remember going to one particular cemetery, and we were told that if everybody stays in the car, shuts all the headlights off, when you get out, there will be all these children's handprints in the dust of your car, like they've been trying to push your car. So I've heard stories about that. I've never heard about the uphill part, but I'm gonna go with A.
But do you think that's true?
No, because I never saw any handprints. We would get out and all the kids would look at a smudge and go, "Oh, look, you know."
It's
Well,
an actual legend. He says it's an actual
I'm
legend.
saying I've heard that as a
but
legend.
but is that what we're doing? We're just trying to say which one is a true legend here?
No, which one is actually happening?
Which one actually
But
happens? Yeah, okay. So,
But I think it's A because I've heard that before and
yeah, but that's just
you know.
but that you're what you're saying is I think it's an actual myth. But the question is, do you think that that
Maybe it's possible. I'm going with A.
okay, Elise?
Hmm.
I'm gonna say B. The- Those are some nice, thoughtful ghost kids, but I like the screaming banshee woman in the wood as more true.
Okay. Well, I'm going with A, not because there's actual kids, but because there's a thing called a magnetic hill where it's anything that seemingly looks flat. And if you put your car in neutral, there's a famous one somewhere in the West.
Interesting.
But we had one where I lived in BC, just up a little hill, around the corner up the hill. There was a tiny section that my husband.
And was it tied to like a
No, it was
like a
just
death scene or anything like
see,
that?
that's why no, there was no. It was just known as a spot that was a magnetic hill. So I'm not going with the part because there's no kids pushing anything, but the
Yeah.
phenomenon of being on a flat thing and then having your car in neutral and having your car look as though it's going uphill is
Yeah, see, I think
a real
that's
phenomenon.
possible.
So that's
when
why I'm choosing that.
I grew up in Salt Lake City, and there was an actual they call it Gravity Hill, where
Yeah, there you go.
it's an upwards hill
Yeah,
where car rolls uphill. So
yeah. But I know there's the thing magnetic. Maybe Magnetic Hill was what ours was called.
Never heard of that phenomenon before.
No,
Yeah, but is that a real? That's the one. That's true.
So I kind of threw you all for a little loop here. They're both true and false at the same time.
Okay, how are they true?
So you are correct about the children pushing. It's not children pushing things up a hill. In most cases, it's like that weird magnetic thing,
Okay.
or
Mhm.
really like in the case like when I grew up, it was an optical illusion. The
Yeah,
entire
no, it
land
is an
set in
optical
such a
illusion.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They
where
call it
it's
something that makes it explain it, but it isn't
it
that. It's
looks
literally
like you're going uphill,
Yes.
but you're actually going downhill.
yes.
And the second is also true in a way, because it's not banshees that they're hearing. It's actually mountain lions.
Mountain lions.
I know.
When you have
This, yeah.
female mountain lions. I don't. If you all want to, like, when the stream is over, just look up how female mountain lions sound when they're in heat. They'll scream, and it
Yeah.
literally does sound like a woman being stabbed, like
Yeah.
an adult
You
woman being
or
stabbed.
I wondered
they
about
also
that.
sound like a baby too. I've heard that sometimes mountain
Yeah.
lions make like baby sounds.
Well, if it's probably like perhaps maybe other species of wild cats, but
Yeah.
they make really odd noise, and so do
Weird.
like wild dogs and coyotes.
If I
and
was
stuff
out in the
too.
woods and I heard that, I would probably be saying Tom Crapper, Mr. Crapper.
Yeah.
Right,
You want
Mr.
to know something
Crapper.
crazy? I've actually experienced that.
That
When I
sound.
was living in
Mountain lion thing?
rural Eastern Kentucky, about 30 miles from my university, and my friend's place, the old farm that he had inherited from his grandparents, I thought the scariest thing that we experienced out there was when coyotes would circle at night and call to each other. And then one night I went out strolling in the dark and I heard a mountain lion before I saw it. And it was a crazy scream, just like a woman.
Oh
It
Yeah.
will
man.
lift the hair on the back of your neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we had coyotes back in BC. We have them here too, but I don't hear them. But in BC it sounded like I told my mother-in-law this at the time. I said, "Oh my God, it sounded like a herd of ghosts coming up the street." And she said it was probably just one calling to her babies. And just they make
Yeah.
this it's like they're throwing their voice all over and
Yeah,
it,
they circle and call
oh,
each
it was
other.
it was so eerie. So yeah, but I
If
haven't.
I heard that, you'd see a dust cloud like a cartoon
Yeah.
because I'd be out
Well,
of
like
there.
I was yeah,
print
I was in
and
the
yeah,
house
yeah.
so fast. Yeah, I was in the house really fast after that. Oh, you hear coyotes most nights, Charlotte? Wow. I don't mind if I'm inside and there's no cats out, as long as I know everybody's safe. But yeah, but that was freaky, and it was
I
super
mean,
dark
the
out.
area I live, we can have mountain lions in our neighborhood because I live in a really like foresty. Like it's like if you feel like you're camping, it's so foresty, like where I live, and it's near the ocean. Like you can get mountain lions, but it's like it's rare, but it's enough where they're like you got to be wary when you go for a walk with your dog in the mornings and in the evenings.
Oh, we have mountain lions out here in San Diego.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so I've heard the banshee thing before being related to a story about mountain lion.
Yeah.
But
That's
Yeah,
yeah.
y'all, after the stream ends, I swear to God, go, if you have not heard it, like, look up how mountain lions sound when they're in heat, and it's like, yeah, if you heard that, you would be concerned that there's a serial killer in the neighborhood.
Oh.
Yeah. Coyotes
So I
are
think we just have one more, and that's Mark. You have
Oh,
one more,
yeah,
don't you?
Mark.
Oh, here we go.
Mark, final one.
Yeah, I got you for the final round. And that's a great segue moment because the category for my third and final round is according to legend. You'll need to guess which of these legends is real in the sense of well circulated, frequently believed, although not strictly speaking verifiable, versus which one has been cooked up for the game.
Okay.
Right? A. According to legend, Rene Descartes, while on his deathbed, had a vision of an astral plane where all minds converged. He is said to have uttered in Latin, cogito ergo fluctuo, I think, therefore I float, as he believed he was shedding his mortal coil and becoming pure thought. B. According to legend, Empedocles, an ancient pre-Socratic Greek philosopher, sought to prove his divinity by leaping into the fiery crater of Mount Etna in Sicily. Just before his dramatic plunge, he proclaimed to his followers, I go from you as an immortal god, no longer mortal, honored by all. His sandal, supposedly thrown back by the volcano, was all that remained to mark his passage into godhood. A. True legend, well-circulated legend about René Descartes, or B. True legend about Empedocles.
Mm-hmm. Philip.
I have no idea. The Empedocles one sounds fascinating. I'm gonna go with B.
Elise.
Okay, I'm gonna go with B, but only because there is a different version of the Descartes having dreams that we just recently watched, Mark. But it wasn't exactly the same, and it's not well known. So I'm gonna go with B.
I'm going with B.
I'm going with B.
And yeah, so we all said B?
And there's
I,
lots of B's in the chat.
I see Angela said B, and I know it from Morg.
Got a couple of A's in there.
I mean, that
And
sounds like something some
the real
philosopher would
long-standing
do.
legend that may actually literally be true is Empedocles decided to be immortal at the end of his career as an earthling philosopher and dove
Yeah.
into a volcano.
That would not
An
that
active
would not be
volcano.
That would not be the way I
Famous
want to go.
Exits. Famous
What?
exit scenes.
What
Nope.
time in history was he about?
500 years before the Common Era, around the same time as the Buddha.
Oh, okay. That
Well,
seems like
hopefully,
No, I'm sorry, that's not the same time as the Buddha, but yeah, 500 years BCE. The
yeah.
Buddha's more like 2500 BCE.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
he took the one ring with him and protected us from the
Yeah.
dark
I'm
lord.
thinking he had to go to Mordor one way or another, and the buses,
Yes.
the buses weren't
That's
running
funny.
that day.
Wow, that was a good one to end on. And
That was
And as
great.
he was
Yeah.
falling and seeing his one sandal being left behind, he went, "My precious."
My thong.
the sandal, that reminds me of Life of Brian with the sandal.
Yeah.
For anybody who has seen that movie, and if you haven't, you should watch it because it's really good.
So what did you think, everybody? What did you think
Yeah,
of
was
our
that fun?
our game?
Did you
Also, if you haven't had enough fun, we have one more fun thing left, which is a
Oh, we
giveaway.
have to do the giveaway. We're doing
We
the
have a
giveaway.
giveaway. So one of you lucky people is going to get a copy of Morg's audiobook for Neogenesis. And we have a specific way that we're going to do this.
Yep.
Whenever Susan's ready, Susan is going to write down everybody's name who says yes.
Yes, if you want to
If
be
you-
in the draw, say yes. Just yes in the here. Nothing else. Just the word yes. If you okay, so we got
Okay.
Cassidy.
Yeah.
We got
And
heretical.
Heretical
We got Bridget. Hi, Bridget.
and Jackie and Zeus
Uh-huh.
and Ren.
Uh-huh.
Anybody who would like a copy of the audiobook.
We
And
got
Joanna and Spectral.
Joanna. You don't have to
So
be in the
whenever-
UK or the US. You could be anywhere. Anywhere
Yeah.
that Amazon. Yeah, we're going to get you a all I'm going to need from you is a email address because I'll just buy it and give it as a gift. So you'll get an email. Pooks is a yes. Yep. Who else? Nanu.
And yeah, okay.
Yep.
So
You don't-
anybody who would like a copy
Yeah.
of that audiobook or a chance to win it, I guess.
Okay. All right, Angela. Thank you. Is Jackie a yes? Was Jackie a yes? Yep, Jackie, you're in. Anybody else? Anybody else who's here that wants to be in?
And also, right after this, we're going to have our members only stream, so you can join us there.
Yep, you're in. Anybody else? I need a yes. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 10 people. Angela already has it, so she's staying out.
And there's 31 people in the chat watching. So
Anybody else? Just type in yes. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, I got Spectral. Okay, so I am going to number these. I have all the names down. I'm going to number you, but not in any particular order. Okay, so nobody knows how I'm doing this.
Roll a d20.
Everybody check your hit points.
Anybody else said yes? Nope, we're closing it then. Okay, so I have everybody's name and I have assigned you a number. Now, obviously, we're all in different places, and I'm going to ask Philip to give me a number from 1 to 10.
okay. Did you just mess them all around, or
They're not, yeah.
let's do number 7.
7, that is Zeus.
Zeus,
And you can-
get a copy.
Zeus,
Yeah, I
come
don't know if you
on
can.
down.
This is probably backwards. Is this backwards? But
Nope, it's right.
okay, so can you see that 7 is Zeus? Can you read my
Yeah.
writing? Okay.
Yep.
That checks out.
That checks
Congratulations.
out. So Zeus, what I need from you is your email address, and you can send that to me. What's the best way of doing it? You can
On
send
our
it.
Facebook page.
No, because that's won't be private. Zeus? Do you have Instagram, or you have a Facebook, right? You can message it to me through Messenger.
Well, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay. Not through the Oculus thing. So Zeus, can you send me your email address through Instagram DM or
Or
Facebook?
could you just put your email address in the chat here?
No, we don't want everybody knowing what the email is.
Oh, I guess that's true. That's a bad
Can you
idea.
post
That's
your
the whole
phone
point.
number
Yeah,
and
just-
address,
just
please?
Give us all your
number.
personal information.
Yeah.
Okay, Facebook, just messenger it to me.
I guess I just don't get any
Oh,
spam or anything.
actually, message it to the
Oculus.
Neogenian Oculus. Yeah,
Yeah.
messenger
There you
through
go.
Messenger, and not like posting it on the site. Yeah, Social Security.
Mother's maiden
Yeah.
name and,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I've been
gonna
in
need
front
all
these
of that.
lights all night.
We're gonna need all of
Social
that.
Security,
Cassidy
fingerprints.
says that was a test, and see, I gotcha.
Okay.
Date and time for your
And-
natal chart.
And if for some reason I don't get it, like I know how to find you. So okay. So don't forget the
Doesn't sound
CD
sinister at
number.
all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I know how I
can
will hunt
find
you down. I will hunt you down. Okay, so that was super fun. Was there any closing things? I was going to do the your guys's YouTube pages, but we
Oh.
did that in the beginning. You guys put them both in, and
Yes, follow me.
I guess
And Mark.
that's it. I've already created the members stream. I'm going to put the link on the community board. So for all the members, please go check that. And we'll be with you in like just a few minutes. Okay?
Yes.
All right, you guys. That was super fun. And we'll see most of you in a couple minutes.
Good night.
Happy Halloween.
All right.
See you
Bye.
later, yeah.
Bye.